Three homeowners can start with the same mortgage, same income, same expenses, and the same monthly surplus, and 30 years later end up in completely different financial positions. One person pays the mortgage the normal way, one person uses a HELOC strategy, and one person skips the line of credit completely and just pays extra principal. Now, the question isn't just who pays off their house the fastest. The real question is, what is their cash flow doing for them? Now, before we go any further, let's be clear. This is not magic money. This is not a loophole. This is not borrowing your way into wealth. This is a cash flow strategy. And if you do not have positive cash flow, this strategy does not work. A line of credit doesn't fix bad spending. It does not fix negative cash flow, and it does not replace discipline. Most people focus on the mortgage payment, but today we're focusing on what happens after the mortgage and bills are paid. If your income is $9,000 a month and your expenses are $7,500 a month, you have about $1,500 left over. That $1,500 is the engine. The strategy depends on what you do with that. Does it sit in a checking account? Does it get spent? Does it go straight to the mortgage? Or does it flow through a line of credit to create more flexibility? So today we're going to compare three paths. David uses the normal banking method, Marcus uses the line of credit funnel strategy, and the reality check homeowner sends the same $1,500 surplus directly to mortgage principal every month. Same mortgage, same income, same expenses, same surplus, different strategies. All three homeowners start with the same numbers: a $500,000 mortgage, a 6.5% interest rate, a 30-year term, a principal and interest payment of about $3,160 per month. They each earn $9,000 a month, and they each spend $7,500 per month, including their mortgage. And that leaves each of them with $1,500 a month in surplus cash flow. The only difference is what they do with that surplus. This is the mortgage they all start with: $500,000, 30 years, 6.5%, and a monthly interest payment of about $3,160. And if they only make the required payment, the mortgage follows the normal 30-year amortization schedule. That means they will pay for a long time. And in early years, a lot of that payment goes directly to interest. Now, this is the part that people miss. The HELOC is not the engine. The PLOC is not the engine. The $20,000 chunk is not the engine. The engine is the $1,500 a month surplus. That is the money left over after income comes in and the bills go out. If that surplus does not exist, there is nothing to accelerate. The line of credit does not create cash flow. It captures cash flow. Think of it like a funnel. The money was already moving through the household. The line of credit simply gives that money a system. Income flows in, expenses flow out, and the surplus is forced to reduce debt instead of sitting idle or disappearing. David uses the method most people use. His income goes into a checking account. Bills are paid from that checking account. The mortgage payment is made once per month, and whatever is left over may sit there, get saved, get spent, or get used randomly. David is responsible. He pays on time. He's not doing anything wrong, but his surplus cash does not have a consistent job. Now, this is important. David is not the villain of the story. He's not careless. He's not broke. He's doing what most homeowners are taught to do: earn money, pay bills, pay the mortgage, keep life moving. But responsible does not always mean optimized. If the surplus has no plan, the mortgage keeps moving at the normal pace. David has the same $1,500 surplus as everyone else, but the surplus does not have a mission. Some months it stays in checking. Some months it goes to random spending. Some months it gets saved. Some months it disappears. And because it's not consistently applied to principal or another wealth building strategy, it does not change the mortgage timeline. Cash flow without direction usually disappears. A 30-year mortgage is designed to be paid over 30 years. Now, that sounds obvious, but it matters. In the early years, most of the payment goes to interest. So even though David is making a $3,160 payment every month, the principal does not drop quickly in the beginning. He's paying faithfully, but the mortgage balance is moving slowly. If David only makes the minimum mortgage payment, he pays the loan off in 30 years. Over that time, he pays about $637,700 in interest. That's more than the original loan amount. And at the 14-year, 5-month checkpoint, David still owes about $371,000. He's responsible, but he is still deep in the mortgage. Now let's look at Marcus. Marcus has the same mortgage, same income, same expenses, same $1,500 surplus, but Marcus uses a different system. He uses a PLOC as a cash flow tool, not as spending money, not as lifestyle money, as a controlled debt paydown tool. Marcus uses a line of credit to create controlled chunks. In this example, the chunk is $20,000 and the line of credit rate is 10%. That matters because the line of credit has a cost. This isn't free money. This is borrowed money that has to be repaid. Now, here's step one. Marcus draws $20,000 from the line of credit. Then he sends that $20,000 directly to the mortgage principal. His mortgage drops from $500,000 to $480,000. But now he owes $20,000 on the line of credit. The debt didn't disappear, it moved. Now, Marcus funnels his income through his line of credit. Each month, his $9,000 of income flows into the line. That deposit immediately reduces the line balance. So instead of income sitting in a checking, it temporarily is working against his debt. The money is still available to pay bills, but the first move is debt reduction. Now, this part is important. The bills do not disappear. Marcus still has to pay the mortgage. He still has utilities. He still has groceries. He still has insurance. He still has transportation and normal household expenses. The strategy only works because the budget still works. If Marcus spends more than he earns, the line balance grows instead of shrinking. Because Marcus earns $9,000 and spends $7,500, he has $1,500 left over. That $1,500 stays working against the line of credit. Month by month, the line balance drops. That's how the strategy captures cash flow. The line of credit does not create the surplus, it gives the surplus a job. Once the line is paid down, Marcus repeats the cycle. Chunk, funnel, pay down, repeat. Each time he uses a controlled chunk, the mortgage principal drops earlier than it would have under the normal minimum payment method. And each time he uses the monthly surplus, the line of credit gets paid back down. The chunk starts the cycle, the cash flow finishes it. The power of the chunk is timing. When Marcus sends $20,000 to principal early, future mortgage interest is calculated on a lower balance. Then he keeps making the same normal mortgage payment, and he keeps using his surplus to pay the line back down. So compared to David, Marcus is attacking the mortgage earlier and more aggressively. But again, the fuel is the same $1,500 of monthly surplus. In this model, Marcus pays off the mortgage and line of credit in about 14 years and 5 months. His total interest paid is about $266,400. Compared to David paying only the minimum, Marcus saves about $371,300 in interest, and he saves about 15 years and 7 months. That is the major difference. Now compare David and Marcus. David takes 30 years. Marcus is done in about 14 years and 5 months. David pays about $637,700 in interest. Marcus pays about $266,400 in interest. Same income, same mortgage, same surplus, different system. So this is the first big lesson. The money was already there. The difference is where the money went. David had $1,500 of surplus. Marcus had $1,500 of surplus, but Marcus gave that surplus a system. The PLOC did not create the cash flow. It captured it. Now we need to ask the honest question. What if we skip the line of credit completely? What if a homeowner simply took that same $1,500 per month and sent it directly to the mortgage principal? No HELOC, no PLOC, no chunking, no line of credit interest, just extra principal every month. In the reality check method, the homeowner pays the normal mortgage payment of about $3,160. Then they add $1,500 directly to the principal. This makes the total monthly mortgage payment about $4,660. It's simple, it's clean, and if the homeowner is disciplined enough to do it every single month, it's extremely powerful. In this model, the direct extra principal method pays off the mortgage in about 13 years and 6 months. Total interest paid is about $250,700. That means this method pays off about 11 months faster than Marcus's PLOC model, and it saves about $15,700 more in interest. So here's the honest result. The PLOC strategy does not beat perfect discipline in this example. If someone already has the discipline to send every extra dollar directly to principal every month, they may pay off the mortgage faster without the line of credit. Perfect discipline can beat the line of credit. That doesn't make the line of credit strategy useless. It just means we have to understand what it is actually for. The reason the reality check method wins on speed is simple. There's no line of credit interest. In this example, the mortgage rate is 6.5%. The line of credit rate is 10%. So when Marcus borrows from the line, he is temporarily carrying debt at a higher rate. That cost matters. Direct extra principal avoids that extra cost. But payoff speed is not the only metric. If your only goal is to pay off one mortgage as fast as possible, direct extra principal may be the best strategy. But if your goal is to pay down debt while keeping access to capital, the conversation changes. Now we're not just talking about speed, we're talking about speed, liquidity, flexibility, and scalability. Paying extra principal builds equity, but equity is not the same as liquidity. If you send $1,500 extra to the mortgage every month, your net worth may increase, but that money is now inside the house. You can't swipe equity at the grocery store. You can't use trapped equity for a down payment unless you have a way to access it. Equity is powerful, but equity and usable cash are not the same thing. The direct extra principal method can make someone equity rich and cash poor. That may be perfectly fine for a homeowner whose only goal is debt freedom, but it may not be ideal for someone who's trying to scale, because once that money goes into the mortgage, it is no longer sitting in an account. It's no longer immediately available, and it's not automatically usable for another opportunity. To access that equity later, the homeowner may need to take another step. They may need to sell the home, refinance, recast, qualify for a new loan, or open a HELOC later. That means the extra principal method can be powerful, but it does not automatically preserve access. It builds equity first, access comes later if that homeowner qualifies. Now, this is where Marcus's strategy is different. As Marcus pays down a line of credit, available credit opens back up. That available credit can become usable capital. Now, again, this does not mean he should spend recklessly. It means he has access. And access can matter when the goal is more than just paying off one house. Usable capital creates options. It can help with emergency reserves. It can help with repairs. It can help with upgrades. It can help with investment opportunities. It can help with a down payment. It can help a homeowner move faster when a good opportunity appears. The goal is not to stay in debt. The goal is to control debt while building options. And this is where the strategy becomes bigger than one mortgage. Paying extra principal may pay off the home faster, but if all available cash is buried inside one mortgage, the homeowner may have less flexibility to acquire more assets. The PLOC strategy may be useful for someone who wants to reduce debt while keeping access to capital. That access can help them scale into another property or another wealth building opportunity. Now let's look around the 14-year checkpoint. At about 14 years and 5 months, David still owes about $371,000. Marcus is paid off. The reality check homeowner is also paid off and actually finished about 11 months earlier. That is a powerful comparison. David still has more than 15 years left. Marcus and the reality check homeowner have already freed themselves of the mortgage payment. When the mortgage is paid off, the household's cash flow changes. The $3,160 principal and interest payment is no longer required. That does not mean that there is no housing expenses. Taxes, insurance, maintenance, and other costs still exist, but the mortgage payment itself is gone. That creates more monthly flexibility. Marcus and the reality check homeowner free up about $3,160 per month years before David. That's the part that people feel. That is the cash flow impact. Instead of sending that money to the mortgage company for another 15, 16 years, they can redirect it. They can build reserves, invest, pay off other debts, buy another property, or create more breathing room. So here's the scoreboard. David is simple and predictable, but he takes 30 years and pays the most interest. Marcus pays off in about 14 years and 5 months, saves a massive amount of interest, and keeps access to reusable capital. The reality check method pays off the fastest and saves the most in interest, but the trade-off is that the extra money is locked into the home unless the homeowner creates a way to access it. So who wins? It depends on the goal. Fastest payoff, reality check wins. Lowest interest, reality check wins. Flexibility and access, Marcus wins. Simplicity, David wins. That's why this isn't a one size fit all answer. The best strategy depends on what you're trying to build. The PLOC strategy is for disciplined homeowners, people with stable income, positive monthly cash flow, strong budgeting habits, the ability to track spending, the ability to control the line of credit, and a clear reason for wanting access to capital. This is not for someone who simply wants more spending power. This is for someone who wants to use cash flow and debt strategically. This strategy is not for someone with no surplus. It's not for someone with no budget. It's not for someone who spends more than they earn. It's not for someone who uses credit emotionally. It's not for someone who would see available credit and treat it like extra income. If that is the situation, this strategy can become dangerous quickly. A line of credit is still debt. A HELOC is usually secured by the home. Rates can be variable. Payments can change. If the homeowner cannot repay the debt, the home may be at risk. A PLOC may not be secured by the home, but it may have a higher rate and a lower limit. So before using this strategy, the numbers have to make sense. The risk has to be understood and the plan has to be clear. A HELOC is not income. A PLOC is not income. A credit limit is not savings. It is borrowed money. That means the homeowner must have a repayment plan before using it. If the line of credit is used for lifestyle spending, the strategy fails. If it is used without discipline, it can create more debt instead of more freedom. So the final lesson is simple. The same $1,500 surplus can create very different outcomes. If it is unmanaged, it may disappear. If it goes directly to principal, it can pay off the mortgage the fastest. If it flows through a HELOC or a PLOC, it can accelerate payoff while preserving access to capital. The strategy is what your surplus does next. Extra principal may win the race to zero. The HELOC or PLOC strategy may win the game of flexibility. That's the trade-off. One strategy focuses on maximum payoff speed. The other focuses on payoff acceleration plus access. Neither one is automatically better for everyone. The right answer depends on your goal. So before choosing a strategy, ask a better question. Are you trying to become debt free as fast as possible? Are you trying to preserve liquidity? Are you trying to buy more assets? Are you trying to build reserves? Are you trying to scale into more properties? The strategy should match the goal. The real question isn't should everyone use a HELOC or a PLOC? The real question is what is your cash flow actually doing? Is it disappearing? Is it sitting idle? Is it going directly to debt or is it moving through a system designed to build options? Cash flow is an engine, discipline is the driver, and the strategy is the road. So understand the numbers, respect the risk, build with intention. A HELOC or a PLOC strategy can be very powerful, but only when it's matched with the positive cash flow, discipline, and a clear plan. If your only goal is the fastest payoff, direct extra principal may be the winner. If your goal is debt reduction plus flexibility, the line of credit strategy may be worth understanding. I'm Antoine Hill, and this is Ask Antwaun. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and comment. See you on the next one.